Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Pastor. Hey, the audience. Before I forget, we have two announcements and then a brief temple talk. Our 2019-2020 pledge drive has been completed. Unfortunately, only half of the congregation submitted a pledge document, 74 families out of 158 total. Some of those pledges were for zero amounts, which was expected. The pledges totaled almost $157,000, or about 54% of the $291,000 budget amount needed. In September, when Steve Greer returns, we will be forming a stewardship committee meeting to address the shortfall problem and to identify alternative courses of action to present to the congregation for consideration. As you will remember, when we started the pledge drive a few months ago, we said that doing nothing would result in a church running out of funds in 6 to 8 years. We have a great church and do not want that to happen. So we must consider alternative actions to increase income and/or reduce expenses. Anyone interested in addressing this difficult issue and being part of the stewardship committee, please contact me. Past financial experience is helpful, but not required. The second announcement. Jim Congable has resigned from the Gloria Dei Church Council, and he and Rosie intend to transfer their membership to a Missouri Synod church in the area. Jim was confirmed in the Missouri Synod in 2009 and prefers to return there. He and Rosie have doctrinal differences with Elka such that it necessitated their resignation from and transfer out of Gloria Dei. The entire council and the congregation of Gloria Dei wish Jim and Rosie the very best and Godspeed excuse me, as they join another church home. We are grateful for their many contributions to the life of the congregation and for their upbeat attitude and humor, which contributed to making Gloria Dei the loving church that it is. And finally, what you've all been waiting for, the temple talk. The road to another pastor. How are we doing? Reverend Marilyn is no longer our pastor. We wished her Godspeed with singing and a lot of food and some presents. Our community farewell at First Pres was fun and brought us together to remember her time and David's time with us. We have a new pastor, Jim Young, and together with his wife, Patty, they have helped to stabilize and to focus our efforts to discover our next full-time pastor. We welcomed them on May 6th at the start of service. Naturally, there was cake. It's obvious that Pastor Jim isn't new to being a pastor or an interim either. We have discovered already his mastery of detail. How many people do you know who can walk cold into an organization and call many scores of people by their first name?
No one.
Pastor Jim is able to cut through the fog of discussion and see the underlying issues, and then propose ways to act on those issues. He is oriented to solutions. With Pastor Jim, your council is proceeding with the synod-required process to select Gloria Dei's next pastor. There is a manual provided by the synod to guide the churches in the transition process. To say it's detailed is an understatement. Some may ask why the synod gets to call the shots with such detail. The synod developed this process over a long time with much thought and experience and a lot of adaptation. It knows what tends to work and what should be avoided. The The Synod also has duties to each pastoral candidate and eventually to the one selected to be our pastor. It and we are concerned that the fit between congregation and pastor is as tight as we can get it on several levels, such as in spirit, attitude, and finances and missions. There are more levels also. Our next task is to prepare for the call committee. Before council can constitute the call committee, it must respond to a transition process checklist. That checklist has a total of 32 items in administrative, financial, and key ministry planning areas. Then, through prayer and thought and action, we discern our congregation's core values. The congregation may engage with Pastor Jim in an interim retreat to discover God's will for our church. In the first 6 weeks of his call, Pastor Jim has evaluated his assignment here and has used this to identify areas that need addressing during the interim. This evaluation was submitted to the bishop's office. In the next 2 or 3 months, the council hopes to begin the process of constituting a call committee. When that time comes, I'll present the next temple talk. Until then, the council asks for your prayers and cooperation to accomplish our objectives and to maintain harmony in our community. One last item, Mary Greer has an announcement.
Surprise. Hi, everyone. The media team is...
Can't hear you, can't hear
Why
you.
can't you hear that?
Speaking into the microphone.
The media team, is it better? No? Okay. It's not. Okay. The media team is looking for someone to record the Sunday sermons and to post them on YouTube. This is not going to be a regular thing. It's just on an as-needed basis when all 4 members of the media team are out of town, which happens to be the case in August. The procedures are all documented. Irv Johnson, who is up here with the camera, will be glad to walk you through it. We hope somebody will volunteer to do this for us. We've been posting the sermons for the last 6 months maybe. And we have had a few people say, gee, what happened on the 1 or 2 weeks that we didn't record? So please, if you're at all interested, we would appreciate your help. And again, it's just going to be occasionally. One other push, we still do need people, if you enjoy the treats after church on Sunday, we still do need people to sign up for hospitality. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.